Hi there, this is Shauna from the Foil Fox, and I'm here on the Paper Tray Ink and Ink to Paper YouTube channel, and I'm introducing to you a brand new die set called Starflakes, and it has this wonderful set of snowflakes that look like stars, so you can use them either way, and they have a wonderful intricate design. We're going to use nearly all of them in this card design. And then I'm also going to be using Tree Essentials, which is also new. It has this ornament and these evergreen boughs and lots of other goodies to go with it. And then of course it has the matching die set as well. And to get started, I'm going to take a piece of masking paper. This paper has the blue side, which is the release paper side, and then the white side is where you would stamp or you would cut out from. And so I'm going to cut out all of those star flakes. And then I also have a piece of cold press paper. And this is Arches, happens to be Arches, but you can use any paper you would like. And so I've cut these all out, as you can see. Now when you take these up, some of them already release themselves from the paper because they're so intricate, and others you have to just kind of poke out all of those little pieces to get the intricacy of it. And you want to make sure that you get all of those pieces off of the back of it, because you want to get this to really burnish down really well. So I'm going to take most all of these little star flakes, and I'm going to make a pattern onto this piece of cold press watercolor paper. Now you can use hot press if you want, or even rough. I'm using cold press because I like the texture of it. Rough would be really have a lot of texture to it, and it might be even more difficult to get these to stick. But hot press is much smoother, so it would stick even better. But I wanted the texture. I was really going for texture for this particular card design. And so I'm just sticking these all on in a pattern. And once they're all on, I'm going to make sure that they're really burnished down. And to do that, I'm using a brayer. Now that's my preferred choice, but you don't have to get the brayer out. You can always take a bone folder like this, and you can really burnish them down with a bone folder. Either way. And then right before, I'm going to take out a little bit of I think this is ultramarine turquoise or ultra turquoise of a Daniel Smith color. And I've taken a little bit of that. You can also use one of their dot charts, and they have this color on their dot charts. And if you pop over to foilfox.com, you'll see them there. But the dot charts have all these wonderful colors on them, and you think that little dot's not going to give you enough paint. See, here's the dot chart on there. You can see I use it a lot, but you can do so many projects with them. That little dot, because this is such high quality paint, really packs a wallop, and so you get this really nice intense color. But of course, you don't have to use Daniel Smith. You can use any watercolor that you have. You can use your ink pad for that matter as well, and just ink it onto your surface, and then put a little water with it, and then watercolor your paper. But I'm using this Daniel Smith. I really like this color, and I made it a little darker than I wanted. I wanted a little bit more white space on this one. Each time I do this, it turns out a little bit different, and so I wanted to have this one have a little bit more white space, and I'm going to dry it somewhat, and then I'm going to take a little bit more of this paint, and I'm going to splatter it on all over, because like I say, I'm going for a lot of texture, because you'll see that with the snowflakes that we add on later, and then these snowflakes, you'll see how it changes and how it all comes together. So I have splattered that on, and I want to get this pretty dry. It doesn't have to be 100%, but it needs to be pretty darn close, because after this is all dry, then we're gonna peel off all of those star flakes, and you'll see that it starts to reveal this wonderful pattern on it. And I just love how that turns out. Just love seeing that pattern. It's just a great frosty look. And then I'm going to take a page out of Debbie Hughes of Lime Doodles blog. She is fabulous. She does wonderful things, but she often takes a little bit of perfect pearls. This is your just your iridescent perfect pearls, and put it in a little mini mister, and then fill it with water about 3/4 of the way up, and then I'm going to give it a good shake. Now you can spritz it, but on this one I'm going to just take the lid off, and I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to splatter it all over. Now it's really hard to see this on camera, but what it leaves you with is these really iridescent, sparkly little splatters. It's subtle, but it's very, very pretty. And I love doing this. She does this an awful lot. Again, that's Debbie Hughes from Lime Doodles blog. And now that I've got that dry on there, I'm going to take either, you can use white gouache. Debbie uses white gouache. I often use this Dr. P.H. Martin bleed proof ink. It's one of my favorites. I use it a lot in calligraphy, but it's wonderful for art as well. And I'm taking a Starbucks stir stick that seems to work out great for me. It makes just the right size of splatters. And I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. In the meantime, I'm taking a piece of white cardstock, and I've taken these Starflakes again, and I am cut them all out with, cut out all of the dies using my die cutter machine, and I'm just going to make sure I've got all of the little intricate designs, all the little pieces out. And now I'm taking some glitz gel. This is white glitz gel, or you can use iridescent, and I'm spreading it all over each of these Starflakes. But if you don't have glitz gel, don't worry. All you need to do is take some liquid glue, thin it out a little bit with water, paint it on, and then dip it into glitter or sprinkle glitter all over it, and you'll get a similar effect. This is kind of skips one of those steps, and so it's easy to use. I often put it on a piece of paper like this, where it's on the left side I have as my messy side, and then as I get them all coated with glitter, I move it to the right side to dry, because the right side is all clean. And I don't waste a bit of this. I always scrape off the additional and put it onto the next one, or scrape it back into the jar. But as those dry, I'm now going to go to the next piece that we need, and that is some evergreen boughs and an ornament. So I have a piece of white cardstock again, and some paper tray ink pine feather. All of the inks are paper tray, and I'm going to stamp 3 of these boughs. I'm in love with these boughs because they have a great matching die that cuts out little spaces in it, that gives it this kind of really, airy and natural look to it. And now with a little piece of Bristol paper, I never throw anything away because I never know when I'm going to use it. But the Bristol paper I use when I'm going to spritz because it accepts the water better. So I took some Lovely Lady, and then a little bit of Autumn Rose on the exterior, and then a little bit on the very, very edge I'm using Pure Poppy, and then I'm spritzing it with water. You probably, if you've seen some of my other videos, you see that I do this a lot because I like the blending of color. And then with the top, I'm using soft stone, and then the intricate little design on top is weather vane. And now that this is all dry, I make sure the ink is dry, and I've used some anti-static powder. I'm using these stripes that are part of the set and stamping them with Versamark ink, and I'm going to white heat emboss it. So I sprinkled some white embossing powder, and I'm going to just melt that all on there so I have a nice pattern on my ornament. With that done, I'm going to now use the matching dies and cut out each of these pieces that I have made. It even has a little piece for the top, and it cuts the hole for the top, which is great for the ornament. And now for one more piece I want to add is I decided I wanted a frame, so I'm using dotted skinny frames here. I'm going to cut it out of white cardstock. And then I'm also going to use the word joy. This came from Joy Frame. It's a new frame that has this wonderful frame, and then it also has this word joy. I cut 2 of them. I cut it out of pure poppy paper, again paper tray ink paper. All of their papers match their inks and vice versa. And I cut 2 of them, put a little bit of glue on one of them, and then stack them. And that's to give it a little bit more substance, so it'll stand up a little bit more. And then I'm going to glue on the top to my ornament. And if you follow my videos, you know that I like to get all my pieces together before I start to assemble. And now I'm just taking a little bit of a finger blender and adding on some autumn rose on this joy because I want to have some dark and some lighter colors to it. Now I'll wipe that all down, get ready for putting this all together. I have a white card base. It's an A2 size, and you see that my blue background there is a little bit bigger than my frame, so I trimmed that all down so that it fits on my frame, so there isn't any border on the outside there. And I'm putting some glue onto the frame, and I'm just going to glue that down. And once that's all glued down, I'm going to then take my double stick tape runner here, and I'm going to stick that down onto my white card base. So I have all my pieces together. I just love doing it this way where I have all my pieces together and I can just go on to the next step. So next I'm going to take all of these wonderful star flakes that are all dry now, and they give a lot of texture, and I'm just going to arrange them. I kind of want them all on top of one another. I'm going to squeeze in, kind of tuck in those boughs and kind of get an idea how I want to have it. And then I'm going to see how it looks where the ornament will go. And then I'm also going to put the joy there as well and say, to make sure I've got it the way I want it. And then I'm going to just kind of take most of it all apart, and I'm going to use a lot of glue because I'm going to tell you that it needs a lot of glue for this to stick down. You have a lot of texture on that background and as well as on these star flakes. So you just need a lot of glue to get those to stay in place. And I'm going to just tuck in here and there all of these wonderful pieces. I just love this frosty look. It's so wintry and so holiday-ish. I'm going to put in these boughs. And now I'm going to I rotated that a little bit, and I'm getting an idea where I want the ornament and where I want the joy. But first I have to add in these last little snowflakes. And now I'm going to take some silver thread. This is DMC thread. This thread is so pretty. And there's a little hole in the ornament top, just like a regular ornament. And I put some thread in there. And I have some foam tape on the back of my ornament and little bits of foam tape on the back of the joy just in the center. And I'm going to peel those off, and I'm going to get kind of an idea where I want it to go. And I know that I want the thread to kind of be where the O is. And so I'm just getting a kind of an idea, and I stuck down the ornament. Now I need a little extra reinforcement, so I'm going to put on some glue on top of the foam tape. I'm going to hold that thread and kind of twist it too the same time. And now that I know that's where I want, I'm going to just clip it really quick before it untwists, and then stick that in place. And now I'm going to just add one more kind of sparkly thing, and that is some clear gems. Some of these gems just give it a little sparkly look to it, and I thought that would just add to it. I never know quite how many to put on, so I usually do it in stages and then look at it and then see if I need a few more. But here it is all complete, and I really think that it's a lovely holiday card that you can give to anyone, and it would be a joy to give it to them. And I just love how the background looks, and these starflakes die just works out so beautifully. I also did another one, which you will see here, which I did. Here's a darker background, still the blue, and I used a blue joy and then some pine cones. These came from Floral Christmas, and the berries came from the Modern Tag Gift die set. But you can add in anything that you would like, so you can really kind of have fun with this. Now here is a list of a few of the things that I used for this project, but you can pop over to blog.inktopaper.com and see the complete supply list, and you can also go over to foilfox.com as well, and you can see everything there. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.